Welcome everyone to another Slab Stox Monday YouTube live show. My name is Aaron, one of your hosts here at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. We talk all things sports cards, different things in the market, and today specifically we are talking about the grading update throughout the industry, specifically with PSA and SGC. I got Nate here with me. Nate, welcome.
Hola.
Back in the house again, and thank you everyone for coming to today's show. This is different because last night we actually had a Sunday night live stream for the first time ever as we were covering the PWCC baseball monthly auction, which was great. I thought it went extremely well. I was really excited about the Mike Trout one last night. I'll show more about that right now. But very excited for today's episode because there's been some recent things floating around on Instagram about what Nat Turner's been saying about PSA reopening. We will dig into that some more later, but we've got some other things to cover in today's stream as well. But first off, like always, just want to say welcome. Nick Foles says, let's go, and welcome to the chat. Also, Packers pitched a shutout yesterday. So,
hey, Russell Wilson was bad.
There's
no denying that you break your middle finger on your hand and you probably can't apply the appropriate amount of pressure to a football to have good throws. I get it. But he was really bad. And the Packers defense went back-to-back weeks. And this is against the Chiefs offense that scored a bunch of points yesterday against the Raiders. Patrick Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns. But 13 points against the Chiefs, 0 points against the Seahawks. And this is still without Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander, arguably our two best defensive players.
Not to mention there's more injuries now on the defense too. Rashawn Gary.
Oh, yeah, Rashawn Gary. He might not be out, though.
Well, Whitney Merciless, although he just joined, but I heard he got hurt too.
Yeah, he hurt his bicep.
Yep. All right, but let's jump into today's episode. So last night was the PWCC monthly baseball auction. 2 cards that we came away with, specifically me, actually, as both these are going to my personal collection. Mike Trout, 2018 Bowman's Best 98 Performers Gold Refractor, numbered out 50, BGS 9.5. True Gem Plus. Very excited about that one. Extremely excited because I am going to fulfill that one and get it in hand because I love gold refractors. I can't not see that thing in hand. And then the Christian Yelich and Keston here, dual on-card auto. Dual jersey, numbered at 35, PSA 9 with the 10 autograph. $58 when even just to grade it, it's $150 right now. Like, I will take that all day, every day.
Yeah.
Especially as a Brewers fan.
Great.
Very excited. Tech, what's up, man? How we doing? Will, good to see you. Creed, good to see you as well.
Speaking of Tech, I saw your thing yesterday, and then we got wrapped up in the live stream. I didn't say. I saw that you sent cards my way, so thank you. Obviously, they're not here yet. He just sent them out yesterday, but I do appreciate it. I didn't get to say that yesterday. I felt bad.
Look at that, Nate, receiving a free gift here from Tech. I guess what I got to do, get my free gift.
Become an Arsenal fan?
Nah, that is true. Oh, I forgot they were Arsenal cards. That's right. And then just a little recap for those of you that couldn't make last night's live stream covering the monthly auction for the baseball cards, which ended last night, PWCCmarketplace.com. Tonight is actually basketball that's closing. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But 2018 Topps Update Gold Juan Soto, numbered out 2018 PSA 10, ended at $3,200. That is $300 over the last comp on eBay, which happened a month ago. So very strong sale there. 2019 Bowman Chrome Sapphire Edition, Wander Franco, PSA 10. That is his first Sapphire card that's been made the same year that he had his first Bowman Chrome. Not in the same picture, but it is from the same year. That's actually from the draft set. That one, so for $440 on eBay, they're selling between like $290 and $305. So that was quite the overpay, as we would say it. But on the flip side, there's a lot of traffic coming to the auction now for sure. We saw a lot of different cards selling for a lot of strong prices. And then on the far right, I picked this one up because Nate was potentially going to be in the mix for this one. But it's a 2019 Prism Gold Vinyl CJ Abrams rookie auto, numbered out of 5, BGS 9.5. Now, I think Nate has voiced his displeasure for non-licensed product many times in the past from Panini. Many times. But he sat here. What?
Once or twice at least. But
Nate,
CJ Abrams is a premium prospect. This is low numbered. Gold vinyl obviously is really sought after. CJ Abrams is a premium prospect. It's graded already. $250 is just so stinking cheap. If I had that money, I'd have snapped that up in an instant. That feels way too low. And I know it's Prism, but considering all the other factors, 250 seems like an absolute steal on this card.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I had to think about it, top hockey prospect is the best thing I can think of because you're not really going to run too much like basketball non-licensed right now or even football. For hockey, let's just say, because I know Panini does have a license for hockey to make some cards. Would I spend 250 on one of the best cards from a Panini release of one of the top hockey players, but wouldn't even be 250 because hockey is on a lower peg than baseball? Yeah, I probably would. It'd probably be like $150 and I'd buy it because I bet you it looks sweet, although non-licensed and all. But hey, think about this. Does it make a difference for you, Nate, when it's like a college or a high school jersey versus an actual MLB jersey?
That is a thing where if it was an MLB jersey and it's gold vinyl, right? It's gold vinyl. It's graded. It's autographed by CJ Abrams. So even if it was a professional quote unquote jersey, I still think I'd buy it for the 250 price point. But the fact that it's college, I feel like in this instance should boost the card a little bit.
Oh, I agree. I totally agree.
Not in like if you have the rights to the teams and stuff, so basketball, but in baseball, I feel like it should be, that's a legit team right there, CJ Abrams. And so one of those things, I think it should be a little bit of a premium. But, it's also one of those things where this specific card is one of the very few times that I would actually ever think about buying a non-licensed product. And if I'm only willing to cave a handful of times tops, there's going to be a lot of other guys that would just never cave at all and just wouldn't buy this just because it's Prism. And therefore, if it's going to be like that, there might not ever be a market for anything.
I do agree with you. And also, everyone in the chat today, welcome once again. If you're just joining, feel free to drop comments throughout tonight's live stream. We love highlighting the audience's comments, just adding in on the topics we're talking about too, or any other topics you all want to discuss. So if you have any thoughts on the $250 CJ Abrams Prism Gold Vinyl Rookie Auto, let us know if that is something that you'd be interested in buying at that value. Of course, it sold last night, so you can't buy it anymore, but just interesting. Wet Sox said not going live tonight for the basketball session. We are not going live tonight for the basketball session because we do a Monday night live like this every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. But I will say, if you are looking to buy basketball cards, there are over 4,000 ending tonight on PWCC's monthly auction. I just posted a link to get onto PWCC's monthly auction for tonight's basketball listings. And there's over 4,000, like I said, and I was looking earlier, and there's a ton of sweet basketball cards. Like, I am for sure. I don't know if I'm going to buy anything tonight because I'm saving up for Wednesday night for soccer when we are going live on here. But there's some really, really good inserts and really good rare cards in tonight's basketball auction. So if you are looking, click that link, go and register to bid and place some bids before 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, because you have to place your qualifying bids before extended bidding starts. So definitely get on that ASAP if you are looking to buy some sweet basketball cards tonight. Go ahead, Nate.
I placed 2 bids today.
I placed a couple of bids today too.
No. So we'll see. I mean, I don't have, if they're cheap enough, I'll jump on them. But if they go $100+, I'll probably just say, another time.
Yeah, there's one I really want, and I'm really hoping to get for a deal because it's pretty cheap right now. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
What's up, Michael Brown, Jordan, Michael? Good to see y'all, Leland and Creed. I already said hi to Creed, and then Bazooka Tom. Welcome
and Global.
Tonight. Oh, and Global. How did I miss that? Global
and
Sport
Ricardo.
Report.
What's up,
Oh
Ricardo?
my gosh, I'm blowing it, Ricardo. How are you doing?
Hey, Will says, Nate, how are you playing the MLB impending lockout? I don't know if you're paying attention to this, Aaron, but they are headed for a re-up of their why can't I think of the word? Somebody's gonna have to help me because my brain's pulling apart here. But I'm thinking
CBA, collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you, CBA. I'm thinking of waiting first wave of bad news in early December and then start buying. So I don't know if you saw this, Aaron, but 2 rumors that keep swirling around that I've seen a number of times now. One, they want to set free agency at 29 and a half years old. So
is that way later?
If you call up a guy at the age of 27, you get him for 2.5 years. If you call up a guy at the age of 20, you get him for 9.5 years.
Does that make any sense?
Well, no, because if you call the guy up at 20, he'd be gone by the age of 26, 27.
Yeah.
So you're not helping him. So it should be a combination of the two. If you haven't called up, or if a guy doesn't have 6 years by the age of 30, maybe he gets some, just goes to free agency and gets to sign because, that stinks for him. Though maybe it should be like 28 and a half. So you get to age 29, because at age 30, it's not really, a lot of guys start trending down at that time. Um, and then, if a guy gets called up at 20, he shouldn't have to play for 9 years on that team. So it should be a combination of like the 6 years of or maybe even drop it down to 5 years and a certain age where if a guy gets called up at 27, he plays through his age 28 season with that team and then is a free agent, even if it's only 2 years. I could agree to that. I think they could agree to that. So that was interesting. And then, secondly, they're trying to get rid of arbitration per se and tie players' earnings to Fangraphs win above replacement.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, that's
And let
big
me
for
tell you,
Fangraphs.
while that is cool for Fangraphs, one of those things where if you are tying your value to Fangraphs win above replacement, what
You might be
stops
Slab Stox
Fangraphs
Nate
from
on Dane Corner
adjusting their
podcast.
win above replacement thing?
I just talked way over you. I don't know what you said.
I said if you are going to tie it to Fangraphs win above replacement, Fangraphs WAR, what stops Fangraph? Can they never change their win above replacement calculations, which they do from time to time? Um, do they change it, and all of a sudden, certain guys become super, super valuable when they weren't valuable the year before? It seems like a very. I like the idea for Fangraphs to get the notoriety, but it's a very like far fetched,
Yeah.
almost impossible idea to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're basing the value off of Fangraphs wins above replacement, so you might be Nate on Ding and Corners episode.
And Jonathan Lucroy would have been the highest paid player for one of those years in like 2014.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Any comments you want to pull up, or can I move on?
You can move on.
All right. So yes, last night, November 14th, we covered the baseball show live, and then on the 17th here, we are covering. It's going to be soccer, miscellaneous, and non-sports. So we will be doing soccer, Star Wars, probably some Marvel cards, maybe look at some comic books, but definitely main focus will be on soccer that night. And then here is the little preview that I posted today. Just a little thing, YouTube thumbnail. Wednesday night, 8:45 p.m. Central Time, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time is when we will be live here on YouTube, the same place, same time as I just said, bidding on the soccer cards. I will live be bidding. I'm very excited for that night. I am hoping to chase a bunch of different cards, and I should be very active bidding. Last night I bid on a few things with baseball, but definitely, soccer is my arena. I'm super excited for that. All right, here's the first discussion point. So we're going to do a little market talk here for, let's say, 5 minutes max, Nate.
Aaron, one second. Before we begin, I didn't see this comment by Sharpshooter. I recently bought an Optic Superfractor 1 of Nate Pearson, $200. I love the card. Anything scarce is good, Nate. And I'm not the only one. If you see something really scarce, number to 1, number to 5, number to 10, even if it's not, a top card, some value in it. So I like that.
Fun fact, the first 1 of 1 superfractor / gold vinyl, because it wasn't really a superfractor, that I ever pulled was a Jacoby Jones 2018 Optic Baseball auto. 1 of 1. Sold for like $80, I think.
Jacoby Jones. What's crazy is you got a good deal because you would not be able to sell that for $80 right now.
Correct. So before heading into the grading update, we'll get into that in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the market drop over the last year, specifically about this Luka Doncic Prism Green PSA 10, but it really goes further than just this card. This was just the example I pulled up. And Roberto says, I'll be actively sniping Aaron's bids on Wednesday. Plan is to not show any of my bids until extended bidding starts. So you have to guess and figure out which ones I'm going to bid on. But honestly, not too hard. If you follow me on at Slab Stox, you probably know exactly what I want. Luka Doncic 2018 Prism Green PSA 10 rookie dropped 52% in the last year as a $3,001 card on 11/12/2020. Recently, this card sold for $1,450 on eBay. That is quite the substantial drop. We posted this to Instagram, asked people their thoughts and if there is a path to this card. And cards like this, non-numbered PSA 10 Prism slash you could even go as far as like, optic select cards to regain that value. And I saw a really, really, really good post from Sports Card Investments, I think it's called, that kind of talked about this just in a more in-depth way. There's a cycle to how people collect cards and how people buy cards and how people trade cards. When the market exploded and we saw this insane growth in terms of users in cards or buyers, whatever you want to call it, everyone was jumping in and buying the same stuff. Prices shot up ridiculous amounts because everyone's buying the same stuff. Once that user base plateaued, which happened, I'd say 6, 7, 8 months ago, it started to plateau. That's when you start to see people learn about more cards, learn about different cards to collect, learn about which cards are rare, learn about which card collectors like, learn about which cards they like themselves to collect. And I venture to say that after a year of collecting or more, people start to, and I'm not even venturing to say, I'm going to say it just based off of this post alone with the 52% drop, people start to find other stuff to buy. I find other stuff that they think that collectors will like more in the future, that they'll like more themselves. And it's not the high population. Even though this Prism Green PSA 10 is far lower population than a Prism Base PSA 10, it still suffered the same fate. It's interesting. And I know a lot of people will probably say that, like, oh, well, you all like are part of the lead on this, where like a lot of people like to follow social media accounts and hear what they say and then go and do that. I think for a long time, Nate and I have been talking about serial numbered cards, rare cards you can't find all the time. That's the reason why I bought the Mike Trout Gold 50 BGS 95 last night compared to the Jason Dominguez Bowman Chrome Base SGC 10 Gold label, because when your card's numbered out 50, there's only 50 there. Now, sure, that is a SGC Gold label 10, which is an awesome card, pop one, but there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of those base cards. I'd rather have the Trout Bowman's Best Gold 50 for the rarity alone. I think a lot of people are falling into that same thing now as they learn about new cards, new trends, new things to collect, and see how other people are collecting and trading. Nate, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine this is anything to do with Luka Doncic as a player, as a prospect, as a MVP candidate, as anything like that.
Wow. There is a common theme between Luka and Trey and James Harden and all those guys. And it's that their points are down per game. Their free throws attempted are down per game. Also, their field goal percentages are down per game for like all of them across the board. So it might have a little bit to do with Luka.
That's fair.
But
That's
a lot
fair.
of it has to do with the new rules, which, you could have predicted because you watch those guys play last year, and there's new rules specifically there to hamper free points from guys like Luka and Trey and James Harden. It's going to
And
have
I
a
suppose I'll also flip this on the head here. Not about the basketball talk, but if you're a viewer right now, would you physically buy this card at $1,450 after it dropped from $3,000 from last year? There's a ton of people in the comment section that said, I would totally buy this card right now for this much. And a lot of people just missed the auctions that ended this low on eBay. Would you buy this for $1,450? And if you would, then you do believe that can get back up to somewhere, obviously about $1,450, unless you just want the card and don't care how much it's worth. But I can't see someone really paying $1,450 for this card if that's what they want to do. Probably find like a card that's like $100 of Luka and don't care how much it's worth. All right, here we are into the grading discussion. So this all is going to start today with the announcement that we did launch last week on Tuesday our new partnership with SGC Grading. If you followed our page over the last, I'd say, year, you have seen a wave of different content based around SGC. Starting with as early as, even 2 years ago, we sent out our first submission. 2.5 years ago, we sent out our first submission to SGC. And then, market kind of settled in, and then market exploded, and then PSA exploded, and then SGC got overrun, and then SGC raised the prices, and then they dropped the prices. And along that way, I was a skeptic at first about the SGC's grading, and not necessarily their grading. I should walk that back. I was not a skeptic about SGC's grading. I was a skeptic about the model on raising the prices when PSA announced their suspension back in March. Now, fairly quickly after that, SGC lowered the prices. They lowered their turnaround times. They really increased their communication throughout social media, specifically from their president, Peter. Did a lot of really good videos covering what they're doing at SGC, how hard they're working to try to turn cards around fast for people, making sure it's good quality grades, good quality pricing. And then along the way, Nate and I kind of did more research on it and started to watch the secondary market. And when watching the secondary market on it, this is all before we decided to start to cover the cards and their sale values. I think there's a good 5 months where I probably didn't post a single thing about SGC sale values. And then basically 3 months ago, probably started to, because I really did see a shift on how SGC was operating their business and how they were really catering to new customer or to customers that want to grade cards that don't have hundreds of dollars to send to PSA or BGS, which it would make no sense to send to BGS really, unless you're just going to try to crack and regrade a card. I actually did that because I thought they'd grade it easier. And on top of that, we did test ourselves after we did the live stream 2 months ago, which is why this is called grading update. We did like a live stream over 2 months ago, breaking down for cards in the $50 to $100 range, modern cards. Is it viable to grade those anywhere right now? And we did find for this specific example, the 2020 Prism LaMelo Ball base rookie, that it was viable to send it to SGC and really not anywhere else. And just doing further research and covering different sales values and seeing how people are actually sending thousands of dollars worth of cards, like single cards, to them, we started to really see a shift in the demand for the slabs. And once you start grading with someone, you are much more likely to start buying their slabs too in the secondary market. And that's how it's happened, because more and more people started to send cards to SGC to get graded over the last 8 months after they lower the prices and increase their or lower their turnaround times and prices at the same time, which is amazing. And they started to go up in value when people would sell them on the secondary market. So now their demand's growing even more. I saw this as a great partnership. I only get into partnerships that I believe in. I do not make partnerships that I don't believe in. Only make partnerships that I do, which I do believe in SGC a lot and what they're doing. I'm a huge fan of it. And we even sent in that test submission that we then posted the YouTube video on that I'm sure many of you saw when we got back our cards. And Nate and I sent in a couple cards each. But more importantly, I think, and I don't mean to say this as like a money thing, but like this does matter in terms of the market. There's just our announcement post. We both sent in a card. Now, mine isn't shown there. My Mason Mount Color Blast is shown there, which is in my collection still. But we both sent in a card that at the time when we sent it, what, Nate? We'd say that they're probably worth around $1,500 to $2,000. Yours might not have even been worth that much.
It's hard to say. I think I was getting offers of like 900, close to 1,000 for it raw.
Yeah, and I think my verts was worth around 15 to 2,000 when I sent my orange in. When we got them back, we both sold them for around $4,000 each. And that's in an SGC slab. Now, I know Nate's isn't one of one, right? Like, would they care if it's an SGC, PSA, BGS?
Probably not.
Okay, so like that's fair. But for mine, at least, I graded with SGC, soccer card, high end, and it got a buyer very quickly, which was very telling to me to show that, hey, people are selling, spending big money on SGC slabs. So I love that Mason Mount Color Blast. I have it still in my collection.
Breaking news. Jonathan India named Rookie of the Year.
Oh, cool.
Sell his stuff. I mean, yeah, I gotta imagine that now would be a good time to sell his stuff right off. If you can get it posted tonight and maybe get a decent buy it now best offer out there for somebody to overreact on, sure. Otherwise, I don't know if this announcement will carry much hype in the coming days for you to like put up an auction. So
Roberto said F1 was a huge part of the shift. I'm assuming he's talking about
shift to SGC.
Yeah, shift to SGC. We actually are covering that right here. So,
hey, 1 second before we begin. Sam Moulter is a doubter. He says SGC slabs devalue your cards. So, Sam, just hang with us and just look at some of the data we provide and tell us at the end if you still think SGC slabs cause your value of your card to go down.
Good thoughts, Nate. Yep. And like I said in the post that we announced on Instagram, we believe very strongly in SGC and what they're doing and what they're doing to progress their company forward, the grading landscape forward, and making card grading accessible to everyone, which I love. At Slab Stox, our motto, our mission is to make sports cards accessible to everyone. And SGC is making grading available to everyone. They're doing that by managing the amount of cards that come in and go out each day.
It should also be pointed out, people are buying undervalued SGC cards, slabs to resub to PSA for profit. It should be pointed out that SGC is not trying to take over PSA. And also, there are certain cards that you just wouldn't send to SGC. You'd rather hold on to them and send them to PSA. It's just the fact of life. And SGC knows that. We know that. You guys know that. And yeah, if you are sending in a $10,000 card to SGC, somebody is going to buy it, crack it out, and sub it off to PSA. But there's plenty of cards where you would not spend $150 to get it graded. Now, that price was going to come down at some point, but you wouldn't spend $150 to get it graded. You spend $30 and you can make a profit. You spend $150, you can't make anything.
I was going to reiterate what Nate said. I think I'd be intrigued, Nate, to think about the $10,000 card crack and resub. I think there's a lot of cards out there that why would people take the risk if it's a good, well-graded card to send it in to PSA, given their inconsistency? I'll just say I've seen very inconsistent grading from them recently through grading 40,000 plus cards a day, hiring so many new people so fast. It is inconsistent. I don't know if people would argue with me on that. I mean, I'm sure I'll get some people argue with me on that, but it just is inconsistent. And when we sent in a small test, albeit, it was 10 cards, it literally came back as I thought, the SGC sub. There was nothing in there that was, wow, this was way overgraded, or wow, this was way undergraded. And I know that it's not for everyone, but what I saw I really liked, I sent off another submission already. A few more cards this time. And on top of that, I want to point out that, yes, in the Instagram post too, I made it clear, PSA is still the biggest brand. Their slabs still command the most money if it's a PSA 10 versus SGC 10. But we do need to understand is that when you are looking at card grading, understand that so much of the value in grading cards comes off of how much you're able to make when you actually grade the card. Doesn't really matter what the final dollar is if you're the one that's grading it, right?
It's true.
And I think we're going to talk a lot about that today too.
Quick thing before we go any farther. Leland's asked this a couple times, so I figured I'd answer it for him. Nate, what do you think of Starlin Aguilar from Seattle? He comps him to Devers, and MLB Pipeline comps him to Devers. One of those things where he's a decent hitting tool, should get some power, but a unathletic third baseman. And that just kind of worries me. And not tall, unathletic third baseman that they seem to think is going to add weight. If you are in Boston or somewhere like that, and you're Rafael, and you play up to your potential like Rafael Devers has, his prices still aren't that great. You move all the way over to Seattle, that's the even worse outcome for you from a people wanting you standpoint. So it's like it's a little bit probably too risky for me.
Let me add in here on the whole SGC PSA thing. Like I said, I'm not trying to convince anyone that SGC's slab should be worth more than PSA, specifically comparing PSA 10s to SGC 10s. All I'm saying is that it's a very viable option. It's a very, very viable option. And on top of that, I think I lost exactly the thought I was trying to say. But either way, I guess we should move on. And we'll talk more about this as we go. But, oh no, I remember. At the time of the post I made on Instagram, which was about, a week ago tomorrow at the time, 26.5 days, business days was the turnaround time. If you think about how much, and it's for $30 grading, keep in mind. How many days, Nate, would $30 get you with PSA when we were sending cards in before?
Yeah, how long ago?
I guess I'll tell you this. There was a sub that just recently came back, I think, that was sent out in February and is returned any day now in November for $30.
And we sent out a bulk sub last December for $17, and we're nearing December, and I'm still pretty sure we're not going to get it until like April.
Yep, and I'll talk more about that too in a little bit. But before that, we've got a brief intermission here. Actually, funny enough, at the 29 minute 40-second mark. Today on Instagram, I posted our 3,000th Instagram post. 3,000 Instagram posts over 3+ years. That is a lot of time that went into all of those. And it was specifically just a little fun thing comparing these $3,000 investments, just to tie together the 3,000 numbers. But all I wanted to say was, if you do follow us on Instagram at Slab Stox, thank you so much. We appreciate it like crazy. There would be no Slab Stox without all of you commenting and engaging on our Instagram posts, because that is how we started, and that is the main driver of really all the card discussions we have. I love coming to these YouTube live streams on Monday to kind of wrap it all together and give our personal thoughts on it all too. But I just want to give a really great thank you to everyone for engaging and sticking with us and supporting us. It really does mean a lot to myself, and I'm sure Nate too.
It does. I can't believe we're at 3,000 posts.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Nate, which one of these will you pick for $3,000?
Oh, come on. The Acuna, of course.
And I know you're about to say it. Even though you don't like the blue?
Even though I don't like the blue. And I'm worried about his injury history. I'd still take the Acuna because that's what I understand the best.
Well, I really like the retro PMG of MJ. Even though it's in a UNC jersey, you cannot duplicate a PMG. Also, it's crazy that Kaboom Brady PSA 8 sold for $3,000, and like the first 5 comments on Instagram was Brady Kaboom. That's from 2021 Absolute, Nate. Isn't that crazy? It's PSA 8.
That is wild.
All right, brief intermission. Part 2 up on slabstox.com/shop. I do have these breaks listed for this week. I do apologize that I was late on posting. I posted these things last night. It's kind of crazy weekend, back and forth, going to a Badger game, coming home from Eau Claire, Packer game yesterday, but I got the breaks up finally. Slabstox.com/shop. Tomorrow is the soccer breaks. We do have 2019 Sapphire in stock for the first time in at least over a month now. We've done 40 boxes of these in the past, pulled the Fatih 1 of 1 rookie. Super excited to have that back in stock. So if you head over to slabstox.com/shop, you can get it on the breaks for tomorrow with soccer. And then Thursday, Nate will be having an abbreviated live stream this week. 2 breaks available for Nate right now, 2 basketball breaks. One is an Obsidian random card break. There's 7 cards in a 2020 Obsidian box, and there's 7 spots available. Each spot gets 1 random card for $65. Who knows, hitting a Anthony Edwards patch autograph would be insane. That'd be super fun. And then we have a 2 random team break for 2 2020 Prism Retail NBA boxes and 2 Revolution hobby boxes from this year 2020 NBA. So check that out, slabstox.com/shop. Also have some packs available of Merlin Chrome. That set's wonderful. We've opened a lot of boxes of those, but we still have a few left. So we'll be happy to open some more of those tomorrow at slabstox.com/shop on the Slab Stox soccer break streams at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, now we are into the PSA grading talk, because there was a Card Talk podcast. Our guys over at Card Talk, Tyler, Ryan, and Lou, they had Nat Turner, the CEO of PSA, on their episode. I think it was about a week and a half ago or so. And I gave it a listen. I watched some of the Instagram reels that they put up. And that was not for a full box, Sam. That is for a random team, but I still do agree that is a pretty good price if you are talking about that. But as for PSA, 2 main points that I saw came out of this, and conveniently enough, Card Talk did post Instagram reels on their page about both of those. But I did actually listen to the most of the episode today. The first is future of AI grading. Nat made it very clear that they are planning on implementing technology. They bought Genamint, was that 8 months ago now? But specifically for the use of detecting counterfeits and for detecting centering. So centering is a positive, right? Like using computers to detect centering is cool. And then also he made it very clear too that the human element is very, very, very important to grading cards. So it did not sound like to me that the future for PSA is 100% automation. You stick a card in a scanner, it tells you the grade. It did not sound like that to me at all. Who knows if they make different decisions and go in a different direction in the future, but that is not what I got out of that segment at all. So just want to let people know that. And then the next thing, and also Sam is right, Sapphire is super hot and kind of hard to find. Yes, this is getting pretty hard to find. Erling Haaland rookie cards and Ansu Fati rookie cards in the same set. Of course, my guy Mason Mount, and then the first Sapphire soccer set in general, which is really good. And then the next thing, which is actually the most debatable, I suppose, topic from this podcast. And I do want people to throw their thoughts in the chat on this one. PSA's future price point for grading. So right now, as we all know, services are suspended. Right now, all you can send in on is $150 for Express, $300 for Super Express. Walkthrough is like $600, and of course, they've got like $1,000 grading for some insane stuff after that. But the point here is that in this segment, Nat Turner said that they want to get back to the days of $10 grading. And they weren't even at $10 grading as of pre-suspension. They were at like $15 to $17 or $20 grading, I believe. I think it's up to 20 going through their website. And when they ended up announcing that they were going to be suspended, they received 600,000 cards in one day.
Ooh.
One day. They were receiving over 100,000 cards a day for months. And that backlog, I remember reading, went over 10 million. So now, yeah, they have been suspended since what, March? Anything lower than 150. But when I'm sitting here right now and I hear you want to go back to $10 grading, that's all great to say. And anyone can say they want to go and lower the price as cheap as possible. How in the world would they ever go to $10 grading without making it a 3-year turnaround time or something? Like, we just saw what happened when it was like $17 grading, and it's already over a year about.
Yeah. You saw what happened when people, when we hit the national and people were excited to bring their cards, walk up PSA, and then they had to close after the first day because 2 dudes brought up like a couple thousand cards each at $250 a card. It's like, you move to $10 grading and every single solitary LaMelo Ball, Donruss, and Hoops, and Anthony Edwards, and Tyrese Halliburton, and draft picks, Joe Burrow is going to get sent in.
And then you won't see any of your cards back for 2 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
And speaking of which, there's a lot of cards. It's been what, a year now? Or so, maybe less than a year. I guess we sent in December, and I was looking to send in again in maybe March. Was it March?
When we sent,
oh
yeah. So sorry, let me clarify. So we did send in a bulk submission. Nate sent in a bunch of baseball. I sent in a lot of Pokemon. We physically, it got dropped off at PSA on December 1st, 2020, and it didn't get entered in as received at PSA until March like 3rd or 4th. That's over 3 months, and we dropped ours off in December. Think about the 600,000 card day that came in March.
Yeah.
When are those cards going to be back?
Yeah.
If we've already waited a year and we sent them in December, and the demand only went up in the start of 2021 when prices exploded in even more cards.
Yep.
Hey, 2 years?
So like, if they haven't got back ours, and people also haven't been able to send in the cards they normally would have sent in the last 8 months, 9 months, because of the lack of being able to do it if they didn't want to send it to an SGC or an HGA or a CSG or something like that. It's going to be a bloodbath when they open back up. And what are you going to do? I mean, you have so many cards. I just want my cards. I don't actually really want my cards back because there's a good number of Gavin Luxes and Kyle Lewis's in there that PSA 10s. If I get PSA 10s on all of them, I'm still losing like $7 a card, which is brutal.
Yeah.
But maybe focus on getting like under a year before you release $10 price points.
Okay, so now let's make this clear. Global Sports Card Investor makes a good point. The $10 service will only be available for people grading cards for their set registry, right? Nate and I said, how would you ever build a set ever again through PSA if you can? You're not going to send all those base cards that are worthless at $50 a card, even if it drops to $50. Yeah, $10 is clearly like super, super cheap. But I'm even talking like $20 to $30 at this point. If you think about, I know people personally who have sat and waited for the last 8 months now to grade a single card. They've sent no cards to SGC or anywhere else that you want to send cards to. Waited all this time. The moment that they open up even $50 grading, it's going to blow up. And if you think about, if you didn't wait those 8 months to grade with PSA, and you actually sent them to SGC instead, and you turned, even if it was 25, 30, 35% ROI on these slabs, like multiple times over, sometimes 100% ROI depending on the card, that seems like a way better option to me.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of, sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I was just, Jim says the problem is everyone's sending in crap players to get graded. I don't know how you change that. And the problem is you can't change it. The only way that changes is if people just don't value it. And so you get your Donruss base cards and people just don't pay over $1 for a PSA 10. If everyone banded together and said, we're not going to buy those, then nobody would send them in. But until that happens, people are going to send in their cards.
So I did take some notes here on the PSA. Sorry, the PSA podcast. My mind was going blank there for a second. Jim just said they need to open up new offices. So they announced that they have new offices in New Jersey, which I thought they already did have an office there. So I don't know if it's new, but they also plan on opening international offices, which is actually a big deal. If they can start to grade overseas, that'd be a big deal. And then the only other really note that I didn't already speak on was that I think that they're imaging every card before and after now too, which takes time, of course. I don't know. I thought I heard before and after, but I've never seen. Maybe there's holding a database of cards before, the images from before. Yeah, and then this is what a lot of people are commenting.
One second. Before we get into that, I know I'm pausing you every like 2 seconds here.
No, that's okay.
But I don't know what this is about. That was before all the bad media at THGA. What's the bad media?
They're grading cards that were faked, like fake MJ, retro PMGs, fake Kobe inserts, I think. And I just don't think that they kind of in over their head type of deal. Like not like SGC's been grading cards for 20 plus years, PSA for 20 plus years, or whatever it's been, 25, who knows what it is now. Not enough tightness on the counterfeit knowledge. And I think there's some pretty fake cards that slip through into some HGA slabs.
Oh,
and Sam, confirm that for me if that's what it was, but that's why I saw. I don't know if there's anything else that we might have missed. Okay, moving on to the next point. And a lot of people were commenting about what Nat said like yesterday, which is really what drove a lot of this discussion. So someone commented on an Instagram post. This one was posted by Adam, our guy Heroes for Sale. I think this was on like a Star Wars pack post or something. Will the website get updated about the backlog? Sorry, update about thin sleeves for stickers doesn't really tickle my fancy. I'm not really. Oh, I see. Something might have been announced about packs or stickers that get put in the sleeves first, but it sounds like Nat Turner said that regular opens in 2 weeks. So I think a lot of people are going nuts over this. And I think that a lot of people should be pumping the brakes. And I don't mean to be Mr. Debbie Downer. And I know that we just said, we launched partnership with SGC and everything, but keep in mind, I literally have a card sitting at PSA right now. We are not here to tell you that you should not send cards, to PSA that are viably sendable to PSA for currently the $150 thing. Like I sent a Drew Bellingham gold refractor Merlin autograph number not 50 there. I also sent off 40 cards to SGC and only sent one to PSA. So you kind of see where that sits, but it says regular opens in 2 weeks. I'm thinking regular is $100, and I think Bazooka Tom literally just said that. $100 a card, while it's different than $150 a card, and yeah, it opens up like maybe a tier just below the ones that are getting graded at $150. In no way is that a game changer. In no way does that give people the opportunity to grade all the cards that they've sitting in their boxes waiting to be graded. A few, sure. All of them, no. And I don't even think that. Nate, does that do anything for you knowing that $100 green is coming back at PSA?
No. Well, yeah, I mean, maybe if I was sitting here with a couple $1,000 and I knew I could buy when Bowman Draft comes out, I could buy a top Bowman Draft card of Joe Blow, right? And then grade it for $50 cheaper, and I don't care if I get back in 2 months because the season doesn't start in 2 months. Then sure, that would affect it. You save $50, but otherwise.
But also, really. The people are spending that $2,000 have already probably been grading at $150 a card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I don't think it does that much. And also, I'm not trying to like poo-poo on everyone's like, oh, hurrah, regular's opening. I just don't want people to get their expectations up too high. If it comes on, it's like $30 to $50. That will be impressive, and that will be definitely newsworthy. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I can't see them coming out with something that low after their recent price drop to $150 for Express. We'll see. We'll see what it is. I mean, Michael Brown, that card ended at the Gavin Lux Gold ended at 750 last night. The gold auto 9.5. Nick says I need a Joe Blow RPF 25.
It's just the RPA is white powder.
Oh my gosh. Nice. Nice. Hopefully kids don't understand that.
Yeah.
Bazooka Tom says I have maybe 5 to 10 cards I consider $100 for 2 months, but not much more than that. I mean, you're still talking 3 times the price of SGC or more for definitely over double the turnaround time. I'd say. I mean, we don't really know right now, but yeah, Sam says if it comes to $30 to $50, the PSA will be a fiasco. They have to shut down again, and I have to agree, man. I mean, I know I'm not. I want people to know listening to this. In no way is any of this like anything against Nat Turner or anything against PSA. It's really not at all. And I have nothing wrong with Nat Turner at all. I have nothing wrong with PSA at all. I send cards that get graded there. It's just keep in mind what happened when they opened up or when they had cheap grading and how long the backlog got. I guess the last thing I want is people to get overzealous about sending in a ton of cards when they reopen, just to know that there's 99, 100 of 99 of 100 other people out there in the market that are doing something similar. And when that happens, you won't see your cards for a long time unless you're paying up to get them graded at quick turnaround times. That's all I have to say about that, though.
What I want to know, and they'll never tell you, but what I want to know is how many people did they have working on like the $600 walkthroughs every day, and how many people do they have working on the $150 level and the $100 level, and who's the random guy that gets stuck with all of the bulk orders that haven't been back? I'm pretty sure it's got to be one guy working on those for the entire organization.
Well, I'll tell you
I would just like to know the amount of, like, it'd be just nice to know the amount of people that work, because I gotta imagine that if you're working on bulk, you're probably working on bulk and you're just working through bulk constantly. And if you're working on the $150 level, you're working on the $150 level and you're just working on it constantly. Maybe I'm wrong, but I guess that's how I'd run it, just so people know what they're doing and get used to it. I'm just so curious as to how they make that work, and it'd be nice to know. So then you'd be like, oh, they have X amount of people working on this. I can expect that if they did this quick, if I send my cards at 100 and they only have 6 people working on $100 level. But
I will add in that when I sent off submissions early on after the shutdown at PSA at the $300 level, and I was stretching on cards that had to get 10s to make profit, it was a bad idea. I sent in cards, and a Rosarena named American League Rookie of the Year. Funny, that's like came after his huge World Series that he had like 2 years ago.
After 2 big playoff appearances.
Yeah. Okay, back to this thing. I got destroyed on a $300 grading submission on cards that I did not think were even close to 8s. Literally, I would not have sent them in. Would not have. I got destroyed. I think that they had a lot of inconsistency of grading really early on in their new hires, in their new implementation of whatever other service levels they're doing, and we're gonna walk through some examples here now of different cards that we think it's viable to send to SGC to get graded and whatnot. But I'm just confident in, I guess, the grading card landscape in general as of right now, and it's good to say that because I think obviously like 7 months ago, all of us would say this is really difficult, and I don't think that there's any confidence in the grading card landscape. But I just want to back it up quick. How good do these slabs look in the SGC holders with? And these are images that they scan. They scan these cards and upload them to your portal after they grade them. All of the cards that they grade. They've done it for now 2 years plus.
Looks good.
I agree.
I'm a little bit biased, but I think the gold really pops.
I think the color blast really pops, the contrast. But I think both of them are really good. The color versus the black.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool. Okay, first example here. Roberto brought up earlier, F1. We made a post yesterday on Instagram, and here is Max Verstappen's refractor, his portrait pose, 480 raw on October 27th. Recently, after the other race yesterday and stuff, in the sprint, it went up a little bit more. It seemed like one raw went for like 650, which might have been an outlier, not really sure. But then Lewis Hamilton went for 835 auction, 1,000 buy it now for his refractor. The 9.5 of each of theirs, 765 on Max, 1,500 on Lewis. The raw here that would have went on auction October 27th was 480. This was 765 for the 9.5. Great for $30. You're definitely making profit there. Lewis Hamilton 9.5, 1,500. Great for $30. Definitely making profit there. Big profit. Actually, that's just a 9.5. Those aren't even the 10s. That's good money. That's good money for a 9.5 SGC. And then you flip to one more slide. PSA 9, 575 on the Verstappen compared to 765. And someone had to pay $150 at least to get that card graded recently. And then the Lewis's are about $1,300 for his refractor PSA 9, when the SGC 9.5 is $1,500. Of course, there is a potential you can get an SGC 9, and I don't have a sale for that one. So yes, there is a chance that you could end up lower than $1,500 here, but you still have a ton of cushion, given that this was $835 and $1,000, and you're only paying $30 to grade it. And then on top of that, if you do get a 10, you're talking what, $2,500 here?
Yeah, it's not going to be the same as PSA, but the downside is so significantly less. At the worst, if you know your card's a 9, 9.5, or a 10, you just don't know what, but at worst it's a 9. You spend $30 and you sell it for a $30 loss.
Exactly. And then you grade these with PSA and the Lewis Hamilton, you're making marginal profit after fees, if any. And the Verstappen, you're losing money in this scenario, or just breaking even, losing money, really. Yep. Next one, Nate, you can go on this one.
1 second. Kirby International says, you guys ship to Ontario, Canada? Yes. And how fast can you ship out?
Very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah, slabstox.com/shop, Kirby, to get in on the breaks for this week. Ship very fast. Nate, it's you. It's all you, man.
Oh, this is me. So we got a little Zach Veen here, and this Zach Veen on the right side. I know it's a little bit confusing because some of these things were a little bit too big for other things on this page, but the Zach Veen on the right side of the page sold last night via PWCC, SGC 10 for $140. You'll notice that November 11th, a lot of 2 Zach Veen Sapphires is the last base Sapphires I could find, sold for $64. So let's say 32.50 per card. You send it for $30 and you're making really good money. You're making $80. Now on the same hand, you get the card for $32 and you send it for $150. You are making, significantly more, but the risk is also you're spending A, a long time, and B, $150 to grade the card to make, what is that? $130 instead of 80.
Yeah, but what happens if you get a 9?
Yeah. So $50, you might profit $50 more, but the risk is huge. Huge. Whereas you could send it to SGC for $30, and if it doesn't work out, you're out $30. You send it to PSA, it doesn't work out, you're out $150. Which for me, the difference, the $120 difference there doesn't make up for the $50 difference you could profit. And
you mean it does make up? You'd rather send to SGC. I think you might have said that backwards.
Correct.
You'd rather not take on the risk of losing $120 or whatever.
Gabriel says, my grandma thinks you're cute, Nate, and I have a question. Is your grandmother blind? That is the question. I'm pretty sure my wife is blind, and apparently I've met a second blind lady. So there we go, Gabriel. Let us know.
That's too funny.
But we got a little Lou Bob action here, and so again, forgive me for my ridiculous collage of images here, but you've got a PSA 9 for $39. You've got an SGC 9.5 for $34. If you're buying the card raw, $27, obviously you're toast either way, but you're way less toast. And you could get an SGC 9. I get that. I don't know how much lower the SGC 9 would be than the SGC 9.5, considering raw is $27. It can't go much lower than raw, right? You would think. So you're toast no matter what, but you'd be way more toast if you sent to PSA. Whereas with over here, PSA 10, $130, $85 there. One of those instances where you just can't send a PSA no matter what.
Yeah, I was gonna
for
say,
this card.
I think the biggest point here is it's just not viable. Like, there's just no option.
But there is an opportunity to make money. You buy the card for 27, you grade it for 30, you're into it for 57, shipping and stuff. Here or there, you still make, $85. You tack on shipping up to $65, you're still making 20.
And also, you would definitely do your best to throw that Luis Robert in with like a bulk or a submission. We're sending in multiple cards, so you're not taking like all of that shipping out to SGC, taking it back. It's like you got to grade multiple cards at one time.
Also, Midwest Ripper says Luis Robert is way undervalued. Bye. And I'm going to echo that and say Luis Robert is way undervalued. Bye. I agree.
That was a stamp of approval from Slab Stox 19 corners. Gabriel says, yeah, she's losing her vision, going partly insane as well. I don't blame you for saying that. And also, Jim, I think Nate would also agree with this. Eloy Jimenez is the most underrated and undervalued.
I also agree with that. I guess I just like my White Sox players. I don't know why.
The Gangsta Gamer, absolutely. Can we ask questions in here? For sure, man. Throw it in. So here's another post, and this is an SGC and PSA sale report based on an Anthony Edwards Silver SGC 10 compared to PSA 10 Silver.
Who is getting taxed 22%? Oh, I guess the tax next year with how taxes are starting next year for $600. Yeah, I suppose you have to clear a lot more. Suppose maybe we should work that into our calculations.
Would not be a bad idea.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Or everyone can just work in it after we don't work in it. I'm just kidding. Let me just point this out though. This is the SGC 10 versus PSA 10 Anthony Edwards Silver. This was posted like a week or 2 weeks ago. So the sale prices might be a little bit off, but SGC 10 sold for $225, PSA 10 sold for $400. Grading cost for SGC 10 $30. The profit ends up at $160 after the $35 raw. Now it's not including any fees, just to make it clear. And then the PSA 10 ends up at $215 in profit versus SGC 10, which is $160. But now the one that I didn't add in here, the graphic, I forgot to click to the next slide and drop it in there, is when you get a 9.5 versus a PSA 9. And this is where it's beneficial for the grading with SGC. Why can't I find this post? This should be like the one. Oh, there it is. If you were to send it in and the SGC 9.5 comes back, you would profit $40. While if you get a PSA 9, you're losing $65. So this is literally the type of thing where like it's just not viable unless you like know and are so confident that PSA is going to give it a 10 that you just it's so hard to send in, especially with the profit potential with SGC, because there actually is profit potential and low risk potential. Here you go, Nate. This is all you.
Oh, and then I just thought this one was a fun one because you can see there September 19th, 2021, SGC 10, $156. And now $695. Now I very much question if this is one of those cards that is not actually rising in price because Bitcoin is rising in price, and it's just rising in price because some cooking group is stirring up fake interest on these cards to get them higher. I could definitely see that happening with this card. But I thought it was interesting because, the PSA 10 there on November 2nd sold for $888. The SGC 10 on November 15th sold $695, which isn't that big of a drop after the $120 difference there. It's still just a $50 difference in earnings.
Nate, I did hear that these things were kind of moving congruent to Bitcoin moving up in price. I just saw some story posts about it over the last, month or so.
So you think it's accurate?
Yeah, I do think
I was just being a little bit of a negative Nelly.
I do, yeah. I think you were. The Gangsta Gamer says, my grandpa just gave me a binder full of old cards. I saw some early 2000s and 90s, Jordans and Pippins, and a lot of other players. Would be worth getting graded or just leave them in the binder. Honestly, the Gangsta Gamer, it all depends on what cards they are. if they're rare Jordans or like 96 Topps Chrome Jordans or anything like that, or rare Pippins, yeah, definitely worth taking on the binder getting graded. If they're just a random assortment of overproduced base cards, which most likely is the case, not saying it's always the case. You know, Nate stumbled into some really old cool cards like a Satchel Page 53 recently. I've stumbled into different cards through friends like Gretzky rookies and Montana rookies, but normally the case is that they are overproduced. But there's not always the case. So maybe if you do have some cool stuff like the Beam teams, don't give them to the gym for $40, but grade those yourself because those are some cool cards.
All right, let's answer TK, the gangster gamer, questions because he asked if he could ask them. So,
That's literally what I just did.
oh, you did? I just wasn't paying attention.
Literally what I just did.
Well, I was responding to Sam on a text because he texted me, so I was like half trying to listen.
No, yeah, that's
caught me.
exactly what I just did. I
You
talked
caught
to him
me.
about his grandpa's cards, and he goes, "Well, let's answer the gangster game's cards or question here."
I cared so much I wanted to answer it twice.
You wish you could say that with a straight face. Yeah, so I guess Nate want to highlight some Bitcoin, and we are up on our full hour here now. It does say submit a question in the live chat, but generally what we do is just take them throughout it. And Nate, it looks like that Will wants to give Eloy a lesson how to reach for a ball over the fence.
Yeah, please, Eli. If you're going to reach for a ball over a fence, at least make sure it's in a game that counts. You know, that was in spring training that he tore his pec because he jumped over a fence for a ball he couldn't get to anyways. That's the worst part about it.
The Gangsta Gamer, if you want to email info@slabstox.com and send like 2 to 3 pictures of the cards that you have from the binder, I can very quickly tell you, yes, worth grading. No, not worth grading. I can very quickly answer that for you. Nick Foles, Rams or Niners? Rams are going to win for sure.
Oh,
I mean,
well,
Niners,
was it Robert Woods?
yeah, it was.
Robert
Robert Woods down.
So you get OBJ in and you lose Robert Woods.
Yep. Pretty much.
Shame.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Michael did say, do you think the wrestling card market could grow? I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I mean, it definitely it very well could. I know a lot of people out there care about it, but I've said before, it's actually like probably one of the card segments I care the least about of any. Yeah. I think I could pick so many different ones.
Tough to ask us, you know, you always get those questions where you're just like, man, I shouldn't answer that. Like if somebody asked me if I think a Brewers prospect will bounce back. Yeah, of course. Of course, I think a Brewers prospect is going to bounce back. I'm biased as can be. And on the other end of the spectrum, something I know literally nothing about, WWE, you know, I would never in a million years be able to answer if I thought that market could grow or not, because I just don't know anything about it. Now,
I do think that UFC can grow, though. Can you discuss UFC grade cards? There's a lot of really cool UFC cards out there, and a lot of fighters that have a ton of hype through social media, and there's always a big event for it, and I do think those can grow in value. And yeah, exactly. Wrestling cards are niche, Toa says, but they are awesome and totally fair. You know, I'm not trying to say that no one should collect them or anything. Just for myself, it's like, you know, it's interesting. Like, I think that everything has its spot in the market, and we try to cover as much as we can, but just some stuff, I'm not even sure how we would cover it, you know? And that's kind of where I am with wrestling cards. Jonathan's excited for tonight's PWCC auction. Yes, one more time for anyone that's looking to bid in tonight's PWCC auction for the basketball cards. Wow, that's quick. Do you hear that mute, or did you see that mute? They're ending tonight, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Extended bidding starts. Hit that link. Go bid in cards tonight for PWCC's basketball auction. I'm very excited. Early NBA Rookie of the Year predictions: Kate Cunningham, Jalen Green, Ben Simmons, Luke Garza. Slips of Ben Simmons there, thinking I wouldn't see it.
I think it's going to be Luka Garza because he just got absolutely annihilated by was it Jared Allen the other day?
Oh, did he?
Oh yeah, smoked.
Evan Mobley has definitely been impressing.
No, it's going to be oh, come on, why can't I think of his name? Raptors.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. That's who I'm hooking my wagon to.
All right. I think that's going to be it for tonight. Good luck, everyone. Tonight's PWCC basketball auction. Thank you all for coming to the stream today. Don't forget to check out slabstox.com/shop for the breaks for this week. And let me just drop the link in here for anyone that is interested. Tuesday, we have got the soccer breaks, Sapphire Soccer with Holland rookie card and Fati. And then we've got Nate's basketball on Thursday. Nate, thank you for coming tonight, and we will see you all next time.